Таганрог проходим. Такие здесь твари обитают.
Mexico's Popocatépetl volcano has erupted in dramatic fashion, sending plumes of ash-filled smoke into the air. A 12-kilometre safety radius around the volcano has been put in place. But Popocatépetl also having a major disruptive effect on air travel. At least 6 US airlines have cancelled flights out of Mexico City and Toluca Airport, affecting routes as far afield as Dallas to Chicago. Passengers have no alternative but to sit it out and wait.
And if you're thinking about traveling to China, you might want to avoid this place. Take a peek. A massive mess of green algae has taken over in the waters off the resort area of Shandong province.
The algae first started appearing in the middle of June, and reports say it has spread along the coast from Jiangsu province to Shandong Peninsula.
So just how much algae is here? Well, according to the local environmental and sanitation officials, they're clearing out 11 million pounds of this stuff every day.
Torrential rain and heavy flooding has trapped hundreds of residents in their homes in East China's Anhui province. Firefighters have already rescued up to 300 people after the floods raised water levels to 3 meters high in the mountainous areas of Musen. The downpours of 200 millimeters of rainfall have isolated the Huibi village, turning it into an island. Firefighters have had to rescue residents using boats and searched every household in the township.
Well, let's get back to that major storm in southern Ontario. Heavy rains brought severe flooding to Toronto and the surrounding areas. This was just the first wave of a major storm system that hit at the peak of the afternoon rush hour.
More than a month's worth of rain in just 2 hours, wreaking havoc with the city.
This morning, flash flooding dumped a record amount of rain, nearly 4 inches around Toronto. 300,000 customers lost power. The subway system was shut down and may not be back at full strength today. 1,400 commuters were trapped for hours until early this morning.
126 millimeters of rain fell. That is the most that has ever fallen in Toronto on a single day. It turned roads into rivers, and though the damage is not on the same scale as Calgary's flash floods last month, there is massive disruption.
Some drivers were forced to abandon their cars after being completely submerged. Dozens of flights to and from Toronto were canceled.
China's worst flooding in 50 years has triggered a major landslide, burying dozens of people. Thousands of residents have been forced to evacuate as flash floods wash away homes and vital infrastructure.
Torrential rain has pounded large areas of southwest China for the past 4 days, affecting more than 1.5 million people.
And leaving at least 31 people dead. The authorities say more than 160 people are missing, but they're still struggling to verify the numbers. Almost 250,000 people have been forced from their homes.
The torrent of water has swept away nearly everything in its path. Entire buildings fell to the ground. Very little could withstand its force.
Mudslides and flooding are common in China's mountainous areas, killing hundreds every year. But this year's rainfall and flooding is unusually severe so early in the rainy season.
There's a lot of miserable weather soaking a lot of Americans tonight, and this is how much of the country is drenched. Rain, storms, in some cases, dangerous mudslides.
Severe weather swept through nearly a third of the U.S. yesterday, from Colorado to Massachusetts, with possible tornadoes moving through Pennsylvania and Connecticut.
I looked out and I could see the debris from the barn itself, and you could hear all the wood being splintered.
More than 450 reports of powerful storms, an 86-mile-an-hour wind report in Indiana and Ohio, damaging homes and businesses. Also reports of 3 inches of rain an hour, bringing flooding throughout Michigan and Pennsylvania.
Dramatic moments playing out, by the way, in Colorado. Have you seen this? It was all caught on camera. Check it out. A flash flood takes over drivers on Highway 24 in Manitou Springs. This driver pulled out his camera and documented the entire thing. The water is ash black because the Waldo Canyon fire from last year. Luckily, he made it out okay, as did every other driver that was caught up in that. But really terrifying moments for sure. Could you imagine being the driver of that car?
Some astonishing images out of Arizona next. Take a look, a massive dust storm blanketing a major American city, Phoenix.
Today, an ominous wall of dust came stalking the entire Phoenix area. A giant brown cloud knocking out electricity to thousands, delaying flights at the airport, creating traffic chaos.
15-passenger van, weather-related crash. The van rolled over.
People caught in the blast, covering their mouths and noses. It's known as a haboob, a freak desert dust storm.
The federal government says the top firefighting priority in the western U.S. right now is the stubborn fire sparked by lightning and burning along the mountains adjacent to Las Vegas, just 25 miles outside of town. The fight has been going on for days. Much of the city has been blanketed in smoke. Now over 1,000 firefighters are on this job.
A typhoon has hit Taiwan's capital, Taipei, killing one person and injuring dozens of others. Thousands of people have been evacuated from their homes before Typhoon Suik hit. Roofs were ripped from homes and some areas were submerged by floodwaters. The typhoon is expected to hit mainland China later tonight.
It's already hit Taiwan, where parts of Taipei were flooded on Saturday. Rescue workers helped residents in some low-lying areas to escape their flooded homes. At least one person's been killed, a police officer hit by a falling brick on his way home from work. Suik is currently rated a Category 1 typhoon on a scale of 5. It was expected to weaken into a tropical storm over the weekend, according to the Tropical Storm Risk website.
Winds of 118 kilometers an hour generated 10-meter waves and a spectacular display for Yuhan locals brave enough to witness Typhoon Suik hit the east coast of China. But authorities were taking no chances, evacuating more than 500,000 people ahead of the storm, including thousands of fishing boats. Dozens of high-speed train services have been suspended and flights cancelled, stranding many passengers at terminals as far away as Shanghai. China has been besieged by extreme weather. In the southwest, rescue workers are digging new routes to reach people still trapped by week-long storms that have killed more than 80 people.
A column of ash reaching more than 5 kilometers into the sky after increased activity in the Tungurahua volcano. Ecuadorian authorities say an explosion in the volcano on Sunday could be felt hundreds of kilometers away. The dust visible well over 100 kilometers away in the capital, Quito. Authorities declared an orange alert, the second highest warning level, and said that more than 200 people had been evacuated from the locality.
Our focus shifts now due to the fact that weather is making news tonight. Yes, it's summer, and yes, across this country, it's supposed to be hot in a lot of places right about now, but forecasters are warning about a dangerous and oppressive heat wave hitting a big part of the country, one of the more sustained we've seen in several years.
Brian, the temperatures are in the mid-90s here in Midtown, but it's felt as hot as 102 degrees in New York City today because of the humidity. These temperatures are not unusual for 1 or 2 days, but to have a stretch of what we're expecting is unusual. At least 6, maybe 7 days of this heat will continue into the early part of the weekend.
Most of the country, 43 states are in the 90s this week. 13 states have issued heat advisories or warnings, with heat indices approaching 105 in some areas.
Thanks for joining us. We begin this hour in China, where torrential rainstorms have battered large parts of the country. Thousands of people have had to evacuate their homes, and the government says at least 295 people are either dead or missing.
More rain is expected to hit large parts of China. According to China Meteorological Administration, provinces of Gansu, Shanxi, Sichuan, Henan, and Guangdong will see heavy or torrential rain for 24 hours from Wednesday morning.
In Jiangyo City, workers are still repairing the La Qinglian Bridge, which collapsed last week and killed 12 people.